Okay, so this one is something that we say after we've used some bad language, right? And it's sort of a joke, right? And we use some bad language, we follow it with, oh, pardon my French, right? So uh, I checked the meaning just now. What I took it to mean when let's say, my stepmother or somebody around me would say it is I took it to mean that, let's say, people when they're speaking a foreign language, they're speaking English or they're speaking a foreign language, they're always apologizing for speaking bad, incorrect Japanese or incorrect Russian or incorrect German. They're always apologizing. I have to say, I'm sorry about my bad German, right? And so when I first heard that, somebody said, shit, oh, pardon my French, right? I took that to mean that they were uh, making a joke like, well, I'm sorry, my French is wrong, right? Uh, but it's a little bit deeper than that. It's really goes back to the UK when there was a lot of people that were speaking French words as part of their English language that they were speaking, and if they would speak French uh, by accident, like in English, we use some French, right? They would, but they realized that the person that they were talking to didn't really understand it, right? They were using more French in the English language at that time, and some people didn't understand the French that was being spoken, so they would say, "Pardon my French." So then they got in the habit of saying, "Pardon my French, pardon my French." So I guess they made a joke when they would use some bad language. They would say, "Pardon my French." And in the UK, they have they had stricter rules about using profanity, right? So that's why like British people will often say, instead of using profanity, they'll use some kind of a version of the profanity. Anyway, so they've got this thing where they say, "Pardon my French," and as far as I know, French people are not offended by it. I don't know. They probably wonder why French people don't use more profanity than other people, but it's somehow it comes out sounding funny. Like, instead of saying "Pardon my English" or "Pardon my German," "Pardon my English," you say "Pardon my French." Somehow it sounds funny because you weren't speaking French, right? You were using a bad word in English, right? Uh, so I think it might have originally been a kind of a negative comment by the British people against the French, but that's not how it's used anymore. It's just sort of a joke. Pardon my French. You weren't even speaking French, right? So let's just take a look at how this is used. I've used it around French people just because I know that they know the expression and they just like it, right, because they get it, right. Anyway, so pardon my French, spoken humorously to say that you're sorry for using a swear word, right? Pardon my French. Okay, so let's take a look at somebody that was. Now this is that same lady, right? And this is some, I don't know. She's speaking British English, but she seems to be an Aussie. That's. But I don't know. I'm just trying to guess at her accent. But anyway, so they're talking about eating a carnivore diet, which is mostly meat, mostly protein and fat. So there's not many. I have to turn my camera on to explain this. Okay, so these four women are talking about their carnivore diet, and one of the things about going on a low carbohydrate diet is that your body no longer craves carbohydrates and you don't get as hungry. So you might forget to eat, right? I went on a low carb diet, and after a while, I stopped getting hungry because the thing about eating carbohydrates is your body uses it up real quick, and then it goes, hey, where's all that good stuff that you just gave me? Because it's an easier fuel, right? And then when you don't have it available, then your body gets hungry. Even though you might have plenty of energy on your body, it will send some signals to you saying, hey, let's eat again, right? So the thing about low carb and keto and carnivore is that it makes you less hungry. Okay, so that's what this lady's talking about, is that you're when you eat carnivore diet, you're changing your hormones and your metabolism so that you don't get as hungry. Listen to this lady.
To something. This isn't you being shit at having no willpower, excuse my French, because
Now this is wrong. She said, "Excuse my French." The For once, usually these subtitles, these automatic subtitles, are very good, but in this case, they got it wrong. She said, "Excuse my French." Okay, let's take another listen.
wanted sugar and was looking for sugar.
Okay, so she's saying what I just said. Cravings. I wanted sugar and I was looking for sugar. You know, if you go on these like fruit diets and stuff, you're always hungry. Um,
And I was shocked at how quickly it came back.
Yep.
I've now gone and I'm doing a little mini prime at the moment to reset myself because I'm all over the place, like hormonally and physically wanting and craving these things.
okay, so what she's saying is she's going back onto a carnivore diet and she's eating meat for a while. And because she was eating like, I don't know, she was eating carbohydrates, and she's got to reset her body so that she's not craving carbohydrates.
And I think it's a really important note for people to get that this isn't about willpower.
Yeah. This isn't about willpower. So many people go on a diet and they fail because they're eating the wrong things. They talk about calories in, calories out, but if you're going to eat a whole bunch of sugar in those calories, you're going to get hungry. Period, right? But when you go on a keto or a carnivore diet, you just don't get as hungry. Body's not craving carbohydrates.
This isn't about you being able to stick to something. This isn't you being shit at
This isn't about you being shit at having
no willpower.
at having my willpower. Excuse my French. Okay? Excuse my French. So she was making a joke, right? Excuse my French, because basically they're not using a lot of profanity in this setting, right? So so if the long story short is, you can make a joke sometimes if you you use some profanity in a situation where it's sort of like like not might not be accepted. You say, "Excuse my French." Right? People use that all the time, and it's sort of a little joke, right? Okay, so I will talk to you on the next idiom.